What is good, everybody? What is good? It's Big Game James. I'm back in the building, and we're here for the live call-in show powered by JJAANN. Two J's, two A's, two N's, capital. If you want to get into the app, I'm gonna put the link right in the description right quick. What's up, T Smooth? Los, what's good with y'all? I'm gonna talk a little Cowboys football. And we'll wait till this panel come in because I'm gonna be asking them some questions as well as you guys. Gonna be asking you guys some questions because I'm sure we've been talking about the draft. It's 2 weeks. It's right down the road. Everybody's got all of these, and if you want to check in the app and you want to jump right in, there it is right there for you. JJAANN, powered by JJAANN. This show is powered by JJAANN. Two J's, two A's, two N's. Just click right into the description right there. You'll see the name Big Game James. You go into it, click have a drink, and let's talk some football. I asked y'all some questions because I got some questions in mind that I want to ask the people. Um, not so much. We've been talking draft, right? We've been talking draft like crazy. It's been crazy what we've been talking with draft, but it's I want to ask some questions about you guys from you guys besides the draft because I mean this draft honestly it's a crapshoot. We don't really know unless you're like the plug right in. You feel me? What's up, the ninja? Get on in here. What's up, Law? What's up? How y'all doing? When we talk about this draft, do we really know? Unless you like super plugged in, you don't you're not gonna know, right? You're not gonna know until you hear this name like at the last second. Dallas has damn near brought in everybody, and one thing that's what I like about how this is going with that because they're not really showing their hand because they're doing everybody. You feel me? They brought a lot of cornerbacks in. They brought like 5 or 6 cornerbacks in. They brought a lot of receivers in. They brought like 4 or 5 tight ends. They're bringing the offensive linemen in. They're bringing the linemen in. They're bringing edge guys. They're bringing in linebackers. They're bringing in everything really except really safety. You know what I mean? So every position that they can tap in the draft, they're bringing it in on these 30 visits. You feel me? What's good with everybody? What's good with you? What's good with you? Come on in here. Like I said, we're going to ask some questions once my people get up in here. All you got to do is jump into the app, JJAANN, two J's, two A's, two N's. The link is in the description. You can click right in. You'll see the Big Game James. You'll click right into that. And then once you do that, you'll be actually in there, and then you just go have a drink and you'll be in there to talk. And I'm going to be, like I said, ask some questions. But as we're talking about the draft as it relates to the draft, before we go into some of the questions I'm going to ask and kind of discuss with Cowboys Nation, as I said before, Cowboys aren't really showing their hand. And we talked yesterday on the final word. Shout out to Law because he was in the bill. I don't know if he still is, but we talked on the final word yesterday, and he said something. When I asked in the first 4 rounds, what you think it would be? He gave me linebacker, running back, receiver, offensive lineman. I mean, that kind of sounds like a plan for it to have. If you're asking me on that 26th pick, um, I would do. I'm the trenches. We talked about it yesterday. I'm the guy that wants to do it with the trenches. You know what I'm saying? What's up, the lunatic? Haven't talked to you in a while. If you want to come in there, you know what I'm saying, you can come right in here and talk. The lunatic, I got this app. All you got to do is download that app to your laptop, to your cellular device, or your PC. You can download that right there, and you come right in because I know you be having a lot of good knowledge, the lunatic. But as I said before, I want the trenches. You feel me? There's defensive tackles out there. We know that there's offensive linemen. But I feel like in this particular draft, if they're talking about running this football and we're talking about this offense is probably not going to be lighting it up, kind of going to be going crazy, then you know what? We want to just go ahead and get that line type guy. You feel me? Get one of my guys in here. What's up with you, dog? Can you hear me?
Yo,
How
can you
you?
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Can
got you.
you? Okay. All right. So yeah, I was just kind of talking about with the draft. We don't really have. It's 2 weeks in. Unless you're super plugged in, we don't really know. We got all kind of guesses. It could be anybody. They're bringing in pretty much everybody, so they're not really showing their hand who they're really going to pick. And as I said before, in the last few weeks, I feel like there's somebody going to be available on that 26th pick. But before I do any of that, before I get deep into that, and I'm going to have other people come on the panel. And what's up, Law? I want to ask you a question. I've talked about this on the final word, and I'm going to ask you, and then we'll see if anybody else comes in, and we'll be able to ask them as well. And it's about Dak Prescott. And Law has asked me a while back, has Dak peaked, right? And I said I thought he had. And even with Kellen Moore, I thought he had peaked. Doesn't mean he's like a bad quarterback, but I just felt like he's not going to get inordinately better now. I feel like it's year 7. You kind of know what he is. If you get him in a good system, he'll be a good quarterback in that system. Good to very good quarterback in that system. But I think what I see of Dak Prescott right now is what I see. I don't think I'm going to see this next leap, even with Mike McCarthy, in my opinion. Does that take anything away from Dak Prescott? I don't think it does. Not from me. It doesn't make me feel like he's not a bad quarterback. But I just feel like he's reached a level, and now he just got to have those pieces around him and be consistent and make it happen. So my question to you is, what are your thoughts? You don't have to give me a long answer, but what are your
I don't
thoughts?
think so.
Okay, and give me your reason why.
Remember when John coach? We saw Dak play at an MVP level, right?
Mhm.
And I might be mistaken on that one. That one might be another. That was the year he got hurt, and then no. When
I
John
mean,
Kennedy was there,
2021. I mean, 2021 was to me his best year, where he was putting it
well,
together until
true.
he got the injury. You feel what I'm saying? I mean that he set the Cowboys touchdown record. We saw how much of a beast he was looking like before he had the injury. Right, he was playing on a super elite level, a level I hadn't really had seen. But I feel like that's the level where he can be at, and that's where it's at.
I mean, if he comes before 21 season, if he goes and plays the way he did, I don't see why he considered top three immediately. I mean, given the talent, the guidance he's been given, I mean, he hasn't had a good quarterbacks coach since John Kitna
All right. So what's his
to
quarterbacks
play
coach?
into his strengths.
Right. So I mean, so you think that being with McCarthy and having a new quarterbacks coach is going to take them to a higher level that you haven't seen before?
I
That's
think
the
with
question I'm asking.
coach, I mean, if you had Jordan Palmer in there, you'd see a whole different Dak.
Hmm.
I mean, Jordan Palmer is considered one of the best quarterbacks coaches out there, right?
Hmm.
That's my understanding. Give him somebody, I mean, give him a system that's conducive. Give him a wide receiver that give him a line that can block four dudes.
Right.
I
I mean,
mean,
but go ahead.
I've been standing on the table for I want Dak to have 9 seconds. We gave Romo 9 seconds once.
Yeah, but you know what? That's not
You know,
reality of the situation. You
dream.
can
I know
have it.
that,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
but
But you
it's an achievement or in which I want to go. It doesn't have to be 9 seconds. It could be 5 seconds. It could be 6 seconds. It could be four. I want Dak to have time in the pocket so he can break down the defense and play proper football. If the line would have blocked last year, the I think the offense would have been obvious. I mean, that's an obvious statement, but it would have given Dak more time
But
to.
Dallas didn't give up a lot of sacks, though. You feel me? I mean, they said I think the
Well,
pressure
no, I
rate.
mean,
They brought up the pressure rate, but Dallas didn't give up a lot of sacks. They were top 5 in giving up sacks. Sacks given up. I mean, there were a point in time where they were leading the league in that sacks not given up on the field. So I feel like he did have time. And once again, people, I understand. I'm not bashing Dak. I'm just talking about the situation. He did have time in that pocket. We didn't have the best. Maybe
a lot of things this year are just pointing to all the right, all going in the same direction. It seems like, and I think everybody's correct on this. You know, Dak's got to bet on himself. That's why probably part of the reason why it's not extended.
well,
You
I
know,
mean, do you think he gets extended? Do you guys in the chat think?
I
I'm asking
think
you
I
guys
think they're
in the
gonna. I
chat.
think this is like the last time. They're going to be like, is he our guy? Is he our guy? Is he our guy? All the way down, and then and if it doesn't have their level,
What up, there, Walker?
if he doesn't meet their level of expectations for success, then I think that they're.
Well, like I said, this is where I feel. That's why I feel like this season. That's why I feel like these moves have been made. In my opinion, just from me looking from afar.
Right.
um, because we haven't really seen the all in this. We haven't seen really the Cowboys. We've seen them. Okay, we get a piece here, we get a piece here. We're going to rely on our young guys. Now it's a situation where okay, if we're getting rid of the Kellen Moore and we're putting all the energy into Mike McCarthy, he's the guy we want him to be here. We want him to be successful. He's been around Dak enough. He can take over these reins. I feel like this is a situation where everybody, when we talked about it even last week, and this keeps staying in my head more than anything, is that I don't know how much longer Dak is here. Mike McCarthy is here, and that's why I feel like this
Right.
season or two
Yeah.
are super contingent on that, especially this one, because I feel like they did put a lot of energy in, put in these spots to where you can't say, well, we didn't help them right there. We didn't upgrade this position. Yeah, they did. They went and upgraded the receiver position. They went and added
Right.
to it, upgraded the cornerback room. They brought a lot of guys that were back that were really good on the defense and helped the defense be better. And I'm sure they're going to draft good because Will McClay and his scouts are very good at
Well,
drafting. They're going to be players. So I don't
the,
think Dallas is going to have a bad draft, regardless
no,
of
I
who
think
they
I
get.
think
You feel me?
I think they're going to win the later. I really do because I think there's a couple of dudes that not a lot of people later in the rounds that could fall to Dallas in like the fourth, fifth, sixth round.
Oh yeah, there's going to be.
Phelps,
Go ahead.
Lonnie Phelps, Mingo could drop to the third or fourth. Um, who else did I say? Um,
I mean,
there's another one that could be.
there,
Huh?
there's going to be guys that are going to drop for sure. You
Sure.
feel me? Because especially the
That's
way
what I'm
this
saying.
draft
So it's
is
like,
set up. Go
I
ahead.
mean, would you be upset at Cedric Tillman at three?
In the third round.
Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. Would you be
Yeah.
upset with him in round three?
No, not really.
He's a,
But the only thing about with Cedric Tillman is this: I just don't feel like he is. He's not a. He's a big body receiver, but he doesn't have really a lot of speed. And I feel like why would you really get that? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be mad at it though, but I feel like there's some
right.
other guys you could probably slide before him in that third round. That's
Hey,
just me.
okay, that's fair. I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
Body West Coast coming across the middle. I understand he always played on the right side of the field all season. He had a first 1,000 yard season in Tennessee since 2012.
well, I mean, like I said, when we're talking about because I'm gonna pull up some receivers right now. you know. But I want you to finish that statement on, you didn't really tell me why do you think Dak? What's the main reason why you
Sorry.
feel like Dak hasn't peaked?
Say it again. You cut out.
What's the main reason why you feel like Dak has not peaked?
I don't think
What'd you say?
that it was. I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. The way I seen him play when John Kitten was there in the beginning of 2021. I just think that they're not playing to their strengths. They're trying to McNabb him basically,
Mm-hmm.
funnel him to be a certain type of quarterback, or
Mm-hmm.
corral him in to be a certain type of quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
and limit. I think it was between the offense and I mean I understand that with the wide receiver core they had that it was really talented, but what it was how many games did they have all three of them on the field for? It wasn't
But
a lot.
yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. You know what I mean? That was supposed to be 1,000 yard receivers, right? And they didn't play with what 6 games together. You know, so I don't think he's been given the opportunities to succeed because of adversity, or they're trying to funnel him into being a certain type of quarterback. I
Yeah.
think if you let him and you play to his strengths, you're going to see a different Dak. I think you'll see, and we'll see a whole season of that, hopefully, and it'll hopefully. I'm not saying like he's going to be Mahomes level, Mahomes or nothing like that. I just think he could be a top. He could perform at a top three quarterback level in this league.
Yeah, well, I feel like we'll see. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's why I want to see this offense. Because when we talked yesterday on the
Right.
final word, they were asking me, did I have any concerns? And I said I do have a concern about the offense in the passing. He said, was it passing or running game? I think Law asked me that. I said the passing game because I still want to see. You are, even though you're saying the terminology is pretty much going to be the same, you are dealing with another different coach. You are dealing with a different transition of a quarterbacks coach. So I feel like it is going to be different. You do have different personnel now, so I feel like it is going to be different. You don't have the Ezekiel Elliott, you have just Tony Pollard and whoever. You feel me? Like you adding a receiver, so the dynamics are going to be different. So I want to see how it is, and I just don't feel like it's going to be as explosive as it was with Kellen Moore. Even though we talk about the option routes and things of that
I don't.
nature, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
it's
it's gonna be.
I don't think
I'm
it's going
sorry.
to
Go
be as explosive as that. I feel like it's going to be more methodical, maybe with some big plays here and there. You feel me? Um, Opportunity, but I feel like we're really going to lean on his defense. You know what I mean?
I agree. I don't think it's going to be as explosive. I think you're right. I think it's going to be more more efficient, hopefully. And I just think it's going to come from Rack and Yak. That's my opinion.
There it is. And I got my guy E2 Blue on here. Just came in the building. Shout out to you. What's up with you, dog?
What's going
You there? Look like you froze on me. I think you may have froze on me. I'm gonna have to come back in. But okay, so I want to ask you because I made this tweet on Twitter and I think you answered it, and I think you were having some dialogue with somebody within it was about Trevin Diggs. Um,
I
Now
don't. Well, we talked about that. I don't think Trevin Diggs stays here. I think Trevin. That's since
on?
Stefan is now. That's the only option for him to go play with his brother. I don't think it's a matter of should absolutely deserve a contract. He should absolutely get a second contract in Dallas, but I don't think. And I think he wants to play with his brother.
yeah, I think he wants to play at his brother too. You know what I mean? And I
I
think
mean,
that
I think that means more to him than the money. To be honest with you, it's
yeah,
he's still going to get paid top five corner money, even if he goes to Buffalo. But I don't. I
he's going to definitely get it paid
mean,
if he goes to Buffalo. You feel what I'm saying? That's why it would be more of a reality if he left and went there because they would probably shell out that money for him. You get what I'm
right,
saying? They're not going to be like the Cowboys and be like, we need to see this, we need to see that. They're going to be more, those are the type teams that'll be more of, hey, we'll throw that big contract at you because they did it when they brought his brother over there. They threw a lot of
right.
money over to him to come over and with the trades and things of that nature to get him over there. So I could see that's where I feel like I agree with you that I see that. You know what I mean? Now we're going to see how that really works, that dynamic with his brother over there. You know what I mean? And see if, it continues to work. Because if it does, then yes, I definitely think you can see, especially with this being the last year of his deal.
I mean, you can also. I mean, it's going to be a telltale sign in the first three rounds,
Yeah, it'll be
and
a tough.
they're either next year because they think that he's going to Buffalo, or they're going to add to it and replace Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think Kelvin Joseph is on his last legs anyway. Are you in?
I think he's gone.
Yeah, I think he's on his last legs, and that's why
He's
they
a camp
got
cut.
Gilmore, and you got other guys that are stepping up, and they're probably going to draft somebody. So if he doesn't really show anything, and they'll probably preseasons where it's really going to manifest itself. But my dog E2 Blue, are you on here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We
Yo,
can hear. Yeah, we can hear you real good. Good to see you, big dog. Glad you were able to make it. We know all the good whatever, but I'm glad to see you in here. So I was already throwing some questions about Dak, Trevin Diggs, but I know the draft is around the corner. It's like 2 weeks in. But I want to ask you since you're on the panel. I was breaking down about Dak Prescott, and I know we don't want to just talk about Dak all the time, but Kellen Moore is gone now, right? Mike McCarthy is overseeing it. Brian Schottenheimer, different quarterbacks coach, different dynamic, same type of thing, different dynamic. I feel like I've seen the best of Dak already. Does that mean he's not bad? No. I just feel like 2021, I seen that. So I feel like that's where he's going to be. I feel like he's not going to get inordinately better now. And I feel like now you just add the weapons around him, and now you just got to, make it happen now. Do you feel like Dak Prescott has peaked, or do you feel like he can still go on even a higher level?
This is the thing, big game. And people got to think outside the box. People are just looking at things one way. And one thing about me, I always look at things from different angles because you never know what's going on. And it's a lot of different reasons why uh, Dak has been, we know that Dak was drafted in the fourth round for a reason, correct? He's not a first round draft pick. We know what his issues are. We know that he's not that Pat Mahomes top tier guy, but I think he's that second level. He's right there. He's not a
Hmm.
guy that can. He's not a guy that can take a team on his back, but with the right coaching, because again, coaching is huge. I just think that Kellen Moore was not the right coordinator for him because that's his peer, right? So you can't really learn from somebody that's like on your level, somebody that was your backup at one point in time. We forgot about that. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like so, when you look at it from that standpoint, you have to come with a scope of okay, having Schottenheimer in here, somebody that's older, somebody they can show him some things that he wasn't, you know, not used to seeing, or bring something to his attention that he's not. It's not like he can't do it. It's just that they just weren't using him the right way. I just think that what we seen in 2016. I'm a creature of if I seen it once, I can see you do it again.
Right.
So we know what he's good at. We know what he's bad at. It's just that a lot of fans are listening to these talking heads out here, and they're just coming out with this crap and saying all this other stuff, and they're just listening to everything, and it's just it's a false narrative. You know what I mean? But you get this team around him. You call the right plays. I mean, look at what Kellen Moore was doing. We were basically using Jason Garrett's offense, which is predictable. That's what Kellen Moore is. He's under the Jason Garrett tree. So with him calling those plays, teams know that they see the predictability of this offense and what we do over and over again. The difference is when you don't have a Des Bryant that can beat those defenses, you don't really have that. Outside of CD Lamb, you didn't really have much. So they saw what we were doing over and over again, and they were just knowing what we were doing. They were just jumping routes every time, and they knew how to bully Michael Gallup because they knew he wasn't 100%. So, you take him out of the factor, you bracket CD Lamb, you have nothing to throw at. So, I mean, I just think that we should have just done more and been less predictable on offense. And I think that a lot of that has to play in the factors of his, high level interceptions and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay. What's up, Smoke One for you? How you doing, big dog?
Man, just hanging out. If my internet's bad, don't get mad at me. I'm at my
Oh, ain't
son's
tripping.
soccer game right now. Don't trip about me. I'm out doing my thing, Big Game James. You know what I'm saying? Oh, good evening, Big Game James. E2 Blue, you still my man. You get into everybody's butt. I like it, especially at Mark Holmes' house. Oh, I love that. Off the chains with it, brother. You Ninja, good to see you tonight too, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, we've just kind of been talking about Dak. I can just kind of ask you. E2 Blue said, and both of them said, they know they can see more continue to add Dak with the right tools, the things around him. You just got Brandon
Mhm.
Cooks. You got a different type of system now. This is the same type of verbiage, but now you have Mike McCarthy in the realms of it. You're getting weapons for him. Are we going to see another level? Do you think Dak Prescott has peaked?
You think Mike McCarthy's offense is gonna be simple for him?
Um, I don't. I think it'll be more simplified because it puts more onus on the quarterback.
West
Um,
Coast offense, definitely.
it's going to put more onus on the
All right,
quarterback.
all right. Listen to this, Big Game James. Listen to this. Then, how about this? Let's say you're a wide receiver, right? I asked Jay Tuck the same thing the other day. I'm pretty sure you probably heard me say this. You're a wide receiver. You're running your route. It's an option route, right? So you can go which way you want to go. You can pick which way you want to go, right, bro?
Hmm.
You're a quarterback about to throw the ball to the receiver. You got to pick which way you want to go at the same time, right?
Right.
In Mike McCarthy's offense, you know where your receiver is going to go. You know what he's going to do. You're a quarterback. You have enough time to throw it to where you need to throw it to because you know what they're going to do. It's a target, right? it's gonna be simpler for him, man. I mean, it's so much simpler for this guy to learn stuff. I can see the 2016 Dak back again, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's gonna be more efficient in everything.
And to piggyback on that, and that was the problem with what Kellen Moore was doing. You know, you're doing all these option routes, and all teams got to do is sit back and
Yeah,
play zone. They're sitting back and playing zone the whole time,
sit back
and
in
they're
the
just sitting
zone
there like they know
whole
exactly where the
time.
ball goes. You know why? Because it's not allowing Dak to go through his progressions. He's not going through his reads. It's like, okay, the ball is going here, and the ball has to go here. There's no other. It's an option route, but it really ain't no option because we know where the ball is going to go every
No,
time. So, and that's why Tony
no,
Romo knew
no.
exactly what the play was going to be. You know what I'm saying? So it just that's why I said like I think putting Dak in his West Coast offense, giving him that time to go through his progressions and get his guys in
Yep,
stride is going to be so much better.
yep.
Look at what he did for Brock Purdy. Come on, Brock Purdy ain't that great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
No,
You
you got
just
to
put him
have
in
your
no,
position.
your offense
no.
predicated on how your quarterback plays.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Well, I mean,
exactly,
like I said,
exactly. And
we go ahead.
one more thing, Big James. I'm gonna tell you, man. Like they how many in our offense, right? How many double moves did you see in the offense? Be honest.
Oh, I feel you. It wasn't a lot of double moves. It didn't seem. I mean, it looked like it was either some
Exactly.
nine routes and
So
or you said like it was comeback or
yeah. So
option
imagine
routes.
this: if you know those defensive backs and linebackers are sitting on those
Stop
routes, right?
routes,
You
right?
know they're sitting on the routes. Why not double remove?
Yeah, stop routes were disgusting.
Right. But
Ridiculous.
you know, I did ask the
It's
question.
ridiculous.
I
Ridiculous.
I did ask the question
It's ridiculous.
yesterday, but I did ask the question yesterday. I'm playing devil's advocate tonight, if you didn't know. But I did ask the question though on Twitter, like if it's week 6 and let's say week 6 or week 7, and this offense is struggling and it's going crazy over there with them Chargers, will y'all feel some kind of way? You first, E2. Would you feel some kind of way? Just asking.
Man, Mike McCarthy ain't about to let Boy Genius beat him, bro. He not about
Oh
to do
no,
that.
that ain't
He
happening.
not he not
That
about
ain't
to do it.
happening. That
It's
ain't
not
happening.
gonna happen,
That
bro.
ain't
It's not
happening.
gonna happen. Now
No, it
I
ain't
will
happening.
say this.
No.
How
And you know
you can't
everybody
say it
every
ain't gonna happen? You don't know that. You don't
let
know
me
that.
let me clarify. Let me clarify something. Okay. We know okay. I'm just saying Mike McCarthy gonna do everything in his power to to try to prevent that from happening. I will say this. Now, I'm not gonna say much bad about Kellen. I'm just gonna say he's still a young guy, still learning. But I think that he might. I think that the Chargers actually might be a good fit for him, though. You know, with a younger quarterback, somebody that he can actually mold up under him. You know, it's just it doesn't work here because, like I said, Dak is his level. Um, but the way they run things with the Chargers, it might work over there, but it's just not gonna work here. You know what I mean? Like he just needed to go somewhere fresh and do his own thing because we've been running that Jason Garrett offense forever. And I kept saying on my channel so many times that like Mike McCarthy has never got the opportunity to actually install his actual system. How you gonna be a coach
Yeah.
and running somebody else's stuff? That's like Big Game James. That's like me coming to your house, living in your house. You not there, but I'm wearing your clothes.
Right.
How
I
much
think the
sense does
better
that make?
question is not whether or not it's going to be simplified for Dak Prescott, whether he's going to thrive. I mean, isn't the problem really the receivers and their ability to read the coverage in the old
Yeah, some
system?
of it is. Some of it is. Yeah, definitely.
And
I
I
think
mean,
I
if
think
you
that
look at
that
the
was a big part of the
breakdown,
problem last year.
if you look at the breakdown of Mike Marks, am I saying that Mike Marks correctly?
Yeah.
The old coach
Yeah.
for the Rams. I mean, it looks like some of those guys are supposed to break their routes and based on the coverage, and they failed to do that. I mean, you see clips of uh, Dalton and CeeDee Lamb running into the end zone, almost colliding together. Right? They have no idea really where they're going, but you know you're not supposed to let the defender cross your face, right? So
No.
someone should,
Mm-mm.
one of those guys
No.
should be breaking the routes. But look, it was clever. That particular play was cleverly disguised by the defense, but that is just one of several um, times where Mike Mark is showing these guys really don't know what kind of coverage they're in, and with the option route system, it's sometimes things can be tantalizing because they seem sophisticated. It seems more complex, and someone like Dak may be drawn to that, right? Because he's learning, he wants to thrive, he has incredible ambition, but sometimes the most complex way is the worst way, right?
Well,
Sometimes it's better to keep things simple.
Which is
well,
the reason why I said that San
It
Francisco
is.
49er offense
Right.
is the most simplest offense you can have. That's why they can plug any quarterback in there and still win.
Right.
right,
So,
right.
I mean, I have no doubt that Dak is on a higher plane in terms of his ability to read coverage. I think Dak is a better quarterback now than we've ever seen. Okay, in terms of knowledge, I mean, he can't run like he used to. But I think in terms of being a typical, stereotypical quarterback, dropping in the pocket and being accurate, he's great. I think he's better now and knowing what defenses are doing than he's ever been. And I think simplifying the offense for the receivers in particular through a numbered system, West Coast system, I think that's going to benefit everyone
And it's
because
and it's
now it's
also
more about a
Yeah.
player ability, right? Than studying, reading coverages, there's just too many opportunities to be on a different page than your quarterback when you're a wide receiver, especially
Well,
young wide
yeah,
receiver.
but here's my thing with the whole thing of it. I think a little bit had to do with Michael Gallup being injured.
Right.
I think they pushed
Agreed.
him. I think they pushed him with the injury a little bit too early because when you got a bad knee, you can't make those cuts. And if a cornerback is guarding you and he knows you can't make them cuts, it's easier for him to break on that route. They might know the route and see the route. And E2 Blue, you played. I don't know if any other guys played like that, but I know that when you're on the field, I know as a cornerback, and that receiver's hurt and he can't cut back on them routes.
Oh, I mean,
And you
you're
see it,
looking for a big.
you're gonna know it, and that's what you see, and it throws your quarterback out there out to dry because he's anticipating for you to go right here, and if you don't really fight through it, it kind of
Right.
happened, and you could see it in that tape what Mike Marks had. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like I said, this is
But it
to
wasn't just
me.
Gallup, right?
Well, I know it wasn't just Gallup,
No.
but
It was all. It was all of them.
at the end of the day, though, just to me, and I'm gonna ask you, Smoke One for you. Do you feel like, and I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna come around the whole way. Do you feel like this is an all-in season with the Cowboys? The way you've seen it, way it's been constructed. Do you feel like this is an all-in season?
Yeah. Be honest, yeah, they're putting their chips in, man. That Gallimore pick, that Gallimore trade, that was all in. We needed to
Gilmore.
solidify
Oh,
our
okay. I was like
secondary.
Gallup.
No,
Getting,
sounds like Gallimore.
getting
Yeah,
all
I
of our
know. They ain't that. They did that. They ain't solidifying nothing to me. They ain't all in nothing if they're doing Gallimore.
I'm gonna say, okay, it
Gilmore.
helped out the defensive backfield a
Gilmore.
little bit better. That's a
Yeah.
bit. It's a little bit better. Not everything now. Just a little bit. But I mean, getting all the free agents we had re-signed and stuff like that, man, that helped out a lot. I mean, having stability, man, it helps out a team tremendously of having the same guys that you are been playing with, been going through the trenches with you all the time. Just build on it, man, and get the depth. I mean, the depth is serious. Oh, and Big Game James, how do you feel about going double dipping on the line, bro? Offensive line.
I'm cool with that. We talked about it last night in there because this is what I said. You still got Terrence Steele. He's still kind of, I know he's been working out because I know he's got to show that because of the money. They put the tender on. He's still inside. So he don't want to be looking bad. So I know that's why he probably wasn't showing he had a brace or anything like that. But it's still in flux. You feel me? They're still saying they don't know what's going on with Tyler Smith. If they want to keep him at left tackle, you hear Tyron Smith. So I feel like this line is still in flux. So yeah, I'm definitely down with double dipping on that line, because if you're telling me that you want to run the ball more, right? And you're probably going to have a offense that's not going to be as probably explosive, then yeah, you definitely want to solidify that line, because he said he wanted to protect the quarterback too, right? He said he wanted to run the ball, said he wanted to protect the quarterback.
Yep.
If you want to do those two things, your line has got to be good. Now, and I said this, our line didn't give up a lot of passing sacks, so it wasn't really that. But to me, it still wasn't as physical as you want it to be at the right times. And I feel like that's what I feel like they still need to keep adding. They did it with Tyler Smith, but I feel like in this draft, they got maulers in there, right? If y'all look through the draft, they got some big maulers, 6'5", 330s. I think when Boss was talking about we really never replaced Ron Leary, I feel him with that, because Ron Leary was nasty. We need to get some more nasty item with Tyler Smith to get that line really going and getting cooked, because it still needs to be more physical, in my opinion.
And Andrew Voorhees, if he comes back from that knee,
well, redshirt.
He's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, he will, but
they're projecting him to come into 6.
If it was me drafting, I'd almost do all the line. You know, I mean, that's just, you know, I grew up in Texas, played football in Lake Highlands. And man, you learn from a very early age. If it's all about the trenches, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have trenches, you don't have anything.
Yeah, for real.
So I'm saying, if Andrew Voorhees comes back from that knee, that boy's gonna be nasty.
And to answer your question, Big Game James, I think our window is this year for because there's just it's too many unknowns. Tyler Smith, he's been contemplating retirement for a while. Like, I don't know if that's out in the public, but that's for sure. I think the incentive deal that he got is perfect for him, perfect for the Cowboys. Zach, I wouldn't be surprised, like Coach Mark was saying, if Zach retired after this year. Gallup, I mean, there's just so many players, whether it's contract, injury, age, they're not going to be here. There's a big chance they're not going to be here next year or the year after.
So, with that being said,
I tell you what, E2, hold on, E2, I'll let you go real quick. I tell you what, if you want to make a solid run on D, O-line, I mean, good players this time around, especially O-line, D-line, linebackers. I mean, right now, this draft is where you do it, bro. There's so many gems, especially at the end of the round. You ain't even got to reach.
I hear what
you ain't got to reach, though, bro. You ain't got to reach.
But we're still dealing with rookies. You can pick all these top players if you want to, but they're still rookies, and they're still coming in as rookies. So I can't expect, even if you drafted 2 offensive linemen, they're going to come right in and dominate. Because even though Tyler Smith was good, he was very good, I thought, but he still gave up like 10 sacks. You know what I mean? So he still had his struggles in and out. So we can't just sit there and say, if we draft 2 offensive linemen in the draft, all of a sudden everything's going to be great, because I just don't believe that. It will help the team out. It'll make us better.
So, which is why.
Big Game, let me call y'all back, man. I got to go get my son real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead, E.T. Blue. Go ahead, E.T.
I'll be back. Yep.
Go ahead,
So,
E.T.
Dallas Law, you hit it on the head, man, about that O-line. And that's what I was going to basically continue with. Zach Martin is not going to play until he gets injured. It's just going to be one of those things where he'd be like, all right, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why we need to draft heavy on the offensive line, because you need to solidify for your future. We are no longer the Dallas Cowboys of the best O-line in the league. That shit is done. That shit is shot out the sky. Like, we are basically an offensive line that's just rebuilding, right? So the yesteryears of Travis Frederick and Zach Martin and Tyron Smith all being dominant, all of them gonna be in the Hall of Fame someday. But at the same time, you have to rebuild that, and the new level is now building with what you have with Tyler Smith, and keep getting young studs like that. Are they going to be great coming in? Not always, but they got to build up to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody's going to come in and be dominant, but if you have some guys that have that talent, even like a Ron Leary type of guy, remember he was undrafted,
Right.
so you got him off a gym. Terrence Steele, undrafted, turned out to be one of the best old linemen we got now. Who would have known? So it's all about getting your guys in the right places, doing the right thing, and making sure you got that depth on your offensive line. Because I don't give a damn what running back you could bring Jesus Christ in here to run through this line, but if these offensive lines can't block, then you ain't got nothing.
Yeah, and I think the Indue that they got from who was it? Was it the Jets or was it from the Jets? They just
Chuma.
signed Chuma.
Chuma.
I think that was a sneaky signing. I like it. You know, a lot of people aren't talking about it. They wanted to trade for him right before the start of the season, and it didn't happen. So I feel like let's kind of. I'm not saying he's gonna come in and be a world beater. What I'm saying is that's another good depth piece because you still don't know what's up with Matt Walesko. They did draft him last year. I know they want to
Yeah,
look at him and see what he can do. You get what I'm
they like
saying?
Walesko.
You know what I mean? They still have as your backups, you still have what's his name?
Ball's a
Uh,
camp cut.
I ain't talking about no Ball. He ain't even in the equation.
Collins.
Not Collins. Um, he was the backup. Faranouk.
Oh, fair enough.
Fair enough or something.
Faranouk. Faranouk. I don't know what he
Far,
plays in there.
Farniak.
Farniak.
Yeah.
I've been tearing the hell out of his name. I'm so sorry, dog. If you ever
Okay,
listen
Mark
to
Holmes.
this, you know what I'm saying? Please forgive me because
You got it, though.
I've been tearing that name the hell up. So I apologize about that.
Shout out to
You know
Mark
what I
Holmes.
mean? But you know, I feel like trench work is good. You know, in the first 4 picks, would y'all defensive tackle, or y'all really want to hit that offensive line early? Would y'all do it in the first 4 rounds, or would it be like in that first 2 picks and then
I would
later
get
in the 6th or something like that?
I would get an offensive line in the first and maybe one in the 4th or the 5th round.
So I have a question for you. Law.
Okay.
Sorry, not Law. Big game.
Uh-huh.
Do you think like the one tech for Baylor was the I can't pronounce his name. He's like Polynesian.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And he's strong dude.
I know he's talking about.
He's strong dude, right? For
Mhm.
at least coming out of college, right? He
Siaki
shows
Ika.
as much
Mhm.
strength as any one technique I've seen, except for the Georgia kid. But do you think he's strong enough to make an impact next year? If we drafted him
You mean come in right this year and
right
have
now,
an impact? Like what type of impact are you talking about? Like
well, I mean, do
like
you think he can stuff the the line and allow the linebackers to like Van Der Esch to come up and make the hit?
I think this is what
Like
I
a
say. I like him because he actually has pass rushing ability. You feel what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
want a defensive tackle that you can get a big boy that's a 300-pounder, a 330 that can still rush the passer. I want something like that. I don't want a guy that can just stuff and hold the center and the guard. I want some guy that can get pressure at the middle and collapse that pocket and make it hard for that quarterback. Not somebody that can just stand up and hold and keep my linebackers free every time. So that's what I like about him. You know, everybody's talking about the Mozzie Smith from Michigan. Yeah, he's the big boy, right? But to me, when I watch him, and I don't trust Michigan big boys because I'm out
Doesn't
here
have
in
the
Ohio,
motor.
I see him. You know what I mean? You
Oh,
really
damn,
ain't. You
Taco
really,
Charlton.
no, you really ain't push the pocket like that. You feel me?
Damn.
So that's the kind of guy I need. You know what I mean? So when I'm answering Dallas 43's question, I don't know if it can be that early because we're still looking at Bohannon. I know he went into 6, but we still working on him in year 3. It's harder for these big boys to come in and dominate, and I just feel like it's more of a plan with those guys. What's your thoughts, E2? Or
No, I feel you on that. But so you're saying that you basically want an Aaron Donald type of bro. One of them guys is like once in a lifetime.
I know.
You
I
know,
mean, I
you
ain't gonna lie.
you're
I
not
like
you're
that
not going
Clancy.
you're not gonna get that.
I know.
And
I'm
I'm gonna
not
tell you,
saying
you
that.
gotta
I'm not saying that though, big dog.
you gotta be
But
realistic, big game,
if
James.
I'm being realistic, but if we're gonna get the DT, that's why I said if that guy ain't gonna do it, which I don't think there's that guy there is, but you can get a guy later like the kid from Wisconsin. I like the Benton kid. He's getting a lot of steam now, but he's a dude that can really attack, and he's about 310. I want somebody maybe a little bigger, but I get it. I ain't tripping off that. You feel me? I ain't expecting a Donald come type in.
No, I feel you. But on this line, really, all you need, because we got a lot of rushers, right? You don't need your defense on this particular line. Maybe the Jets or some other team, they need all they can get, right? We
Mm-hmm.
we get we get pressure from all sides on our defensive line. We just need that run stuffer. I don't. I agree with you, but I think that
You
what
don't.
the Cowboys do.
Come on. You don't want nobody can push that pocket too. E2. Come on, and you don't have to be an Aaron
Yeah,
Donald
but you
type to
can't
do
have
it.
a steak on every plate, bro. That's the
Come
only
on, but
thing
there's
about
but
that.
but I'm
I'm
saying
thinking I'm thinking of it.
there's
I'm
some
thinking of
guys
it
in there
from,
too. There's some guys in
huh?
there. E. There's some guys
There,
in there that
there's
can
two
do it.
guys in this draft that can do that. Yes, but you may not be able to get them. But I will be happy with a little Jonathan Hankins, basically somebody
Oh, I
that can
love that.
come in there and clog and contain, and every so often maybe get you a push here and there. I'm fine with that because we got enough guys that can do that other stuff. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. If we were hurting for defensive linemen, because we got so many guys on this team, they gonna have to cut. We had to cut good people last year. We cut Terrell Basham. Like, I liked him, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we got. The only place on the defensive line where we're weak is that run stopping, and you just get somebody in there, just get a fat boy in there with a refrigerator with arms. I'm good, bro.
I hear you. I want smoke
Get,
pass rushing dog.
give me
I'm
a
a lit.
Frigidaire with arms, bro. I'm good.
I
I
don't
hear you.
think
Go ahead.
I don't think defensive tackle in the first round. I mean,
No, I'm on offensive line.
We're all in the same consensus that it takes three to 4 years to scout whether or not he was a hitter, right? So why would you put that kind of value into on tackle with that type of stipulations already attached? I mean,
Because when you window
they were
dress
running
your
back
board like
then.
that, you end up with a Taco Charlton, and we don't want to do that again.
I mean, I think the way the Cowboys are thinking, if the way we're going to get a ball because somebody's going to jump, somebody's going to reach. They're going to go after this quarterback, offensive lineman. I mean, center is deep, edge is deep. I mean, all O line is deep. Interior is deep as shit. Somebody's going to fall, and I think that if it depends. Whether Mike says I don't like any guys, give it to Dan, and Dan says give me one McDonald. I think they go. I think they go edge in the first in order to replace Tank.
And let's be honest, right? We know that unless the Cowboys move up, they're not gonna. I mean, at 26, typically that's a second round pick anyway. I mean, anything after
Sure.
18, 19 is pretty much a second round grade. So if you get something that's of good value that can do something for you first year at pick number 26, I'm good with it.
I
But
need a, I
the
need an
way that the
immediate
Cowboys
impact player.
because of the way the Cowboys ran their offseason, man, we really don't have to go in the draft like, oh my God, it's a dire need for this, that, and the third. Outside of offensive line, I just think that you could just fill out your gaps there. And like I said, I
Totally
wouldn't
agree.
mind getting an offensive lineman first round. Everybody keep talking about these tight ends. I was like, yo, let these young dudes that we got eat because they athletic. Let them go out. So my thing is this: football or any sports is about confidence. If you sit on the bench, you don't have confidence to play the game. When you go out there and you start doing stuff, that's when you get that confidence to be even better and better at your craft. And I just think that with that, they just need to let them young guys eat and just build
Yeah,
around that.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
I'd be surprised if they traded out of the first round altogether if they got a haul.
That part.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it'll be interesting because they're doing things that we haven't really seen them do, at least as
may
of
not
late,
want to
right?
invest. They may not want to invest a fifth-year option into any of these players. And that's what it come down to. If they get a good deal,
Yeah.
why not?
Well, I mean, I've already said that that's why I think that this year's an all-in type year because you got contracts that are coming up, right? Big contracts, right? So when big
Yep.
contracts are coming up, if I'm looking at from the front office side,
You
Big
got to win now.
contracts are coming up. You got to win. You got to win now. And if we don't win and your contract is up, I'm going to be more hesitant, just from me, for real, to want to pay you. It's just what it is. I'm going to be more hesitant to want to pay that big money because we've been all in. We did this. We everybody was saying we missed out. We put all the chips in the table, and let's say we're relatively healthy and we fail again, at least don't even get past that divisional round again. Yeah, then you're going to be seeing. I don't think the Stephen Jones and those guys are going to be up to want to pay those the CD Lambs. They're going to give him the 5th-year option just to give them time. But when I'm looking at the Diggs now, I don't see where they're going to jump up and say, "Oh, we're paying you now. We just lost again in a division round the next year." I don't see that, E2, and that's when I think they start looking at people like, well,
they pick up CD's 5th. They sit on Micah. They let Diggs walk for a comp pick. It's gonna happen.
Oh, that's scary.
I'm serious. If they don't,
No, I get it.
This year, I really think that happens.
I get it, and that's more than like I agree. That's more like it would happen. We don't want that to happen, but I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, because I mean, we have been talking about it, and I have been saying this last year, E2, that Diggs was the guy that I was already had my eye on because it's harder for a cornerback. You feel me? Especially when you already set the bar high. When you're getting 11 interceptions, they're going to use that against you. You feel me?
Of course.
Every team you're going to use that against you. But obviously, the interceptions were lower, but the game was better. You feel what I'm saying? But this to me is still we're going to look at you this year, because this is your last year, and we want to see how this team does. And if the team fails and you're okay, I don't see the Cowboys wanting to justify paying big money to a corner and a receiver getting ready to come up as well, and a line. You feel me?
Well, with Gilmore back there with him, he's gonna play better.
Yeah, he's gonna play better.
He gonna show out this year.
Well, he's got to, because this is contract time. This is honestly
throw Gilmore more than they do Diggs.
But I'm saying though, this to me is a good time for Dallas. If they're going all in, this is a good time for them because they should get the best of Diggs, right? Because he's playing for a contract. They should get the best of CD Lamb, because even though that 5th-year option is coming, I'm sure he's looking long term now. You get what I mean? So we're looking at these guys in the last tail end of their deals. We should get the best of them. So if we're going all in, it's a good thing that they're in the last end of their contracts, because we should be getting the best play. So there really should be no excuses from anybody because of what the ramifications are really, and the stakes that are on the table right now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Oh, if I'm CD Lamb, I let him. Dak's walking, I let him pick up my 5th. I don't fight it, and I follow Dak after the 5th.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean?
I mean, if that's what I'm saying. Who are they going to replace Dak with? Come on.
I know. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but like I said, I think this is what's up, KG. This is one of my situations where I feel like this is that 2-year window where Dak's got 2 years on his deal. They're talking about extending. They want to sit and watch this. They want to see this. This is a season, E2, that they're really sitting and going to watch this whole thing play out. And if people fail this year and fail kind of bad, that's when I feel like quarterback, maybe things that really could change, in my opinion. Now, I ain't no insider on it, but it just feels like it in my heart. You know what I mean?
I got you.
If the front office keeps their hands out of game plans, it's a successful season.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't think the schedule's that hard. I looked at the schedule. I don't think the schedule's that crazy. So, in my opinion, this should be a third. In my opinion, maybe I'm looking too far ahead, but I'm already feeling like we should already be in the playoffs again. We stay relatively healthy. We're a 3-year playoff team. Like, we're a playoff team now. So now it's just, what are we going to do in these playoffs? Are we going to get past this divisional round and make it happen? That's where I'm at. I don't care about nothing else. It's playoffs.
The floor for success is the end of the game. Not win, but get there. That's the floor.
Yeah.
Hey, KG, turn your radio down a little bit.
Can we please get to a goddamn NFC Championship game?
I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm frustrated, dog. Because it's like, dog, like last year, I'm tired of looking at it and tasting it.
Yeah,
tasting it, and I know we can whoop you
it's like, oh,
team.
you almost had it.
Dog, I know we can whoop you teams,
But
and
you
it's
know
like,
the team, like you
uh,
know Dallas went in both them games. They were the maybe not the better defense, but all around they were the better team.
San Francisco seems like our kryptonite. It's like we get into the game with them. We just it's like our nerves. We get like gout and shit. Our nerves start getting.
Like the
We be in
Packers
there.
when Jason Garrett.
I can't move.
I don't get it because I'm sitting there feeling like I know my I know we all how we felt when we saw Tony Pollard hurt. I know we all first thought was game over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, cause I was at no bullshit. Cause Big AJ, bruh, Big A. I was at Mark's house, and soon as he got hit, I got up. I said, me and DMV, me and DVZ, we was like, well, guess I'm going home.
Right, right. I mean, I didn't want to feel that way, but
Grab
when I
some of these
see,
wings on the way out.
oh dog, when I seen that ankle and I said, oh well, there it is, and there's the game. So I said to myself, and there's the game. And I don't want to feel like that. And maybe that's why when we're talking about you got to get those weapons for Dak. So when one person goes down, you don't feel like the season's over. You feel me? One person can't make that offense. It's got to be multiple players.
Is anybody else with me about wanting Ty back? I feel like I
Yes,
feel
I'm
like
down
he's
with
got
Yeah,
that.
some. I feel like he's got some unfinished business, and I had said this in
he
one of
was
my
the only.
Cowboy group chats, and I said, man, I had said before Cooks even got here, I was like, damn Odell Beckham, because that's too expensive. Okay, I'll take D Hop, but the only thing about D Hop is it's almost like having two CD lambs, right? So they kind
Right,
of counteract, they kind of like cancel each other out.
right.
I feel like Cooks is a more better fit than what Hopkins is, and you add Ty as a deep threat. Oh my God! Like having
Yeah,
just them two vets and then get you a rookie in like the fourth round, like a rookie guy in the fourth round, bruh.
if I'm not
Because I
mistaken, he
think
was
Gallup's gonna be better. Because I think Gallup's gonna be better because he's actually gonna be 100% now.
right. I agree.
So you couple that together, bro. We gonna have a good offense, man. We'll be fine. But I just hope that they realize like, okay, Ty ain't going nowhere. We'll get you on a another 1 year contract, veteran men, and get you up in here and actually use you.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I go ahead.
June 1st when they get that Zeke money.
Yeah, that's probably what they're waiting on.
Yeah, because I
I
heard
think that's what they're
I
waiting on.
talked to a few people I know, and they were saying that he liked it in Dallas, and
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out perfect. You can see how it worked out perfect. You added a Cooks, you still got a good
Oh,
receiver
he
room.
enjoyed. He enjoyed himself on game
Yeah,
day with the
you feel
Cowboys.
me? Like
Yeah,
he was. I mean, I mean, it's
remember
hard,
correctly.
and you're older, and they say it's better for an older player when you're coming into Dallas because they really know how to do the load management and they make it good for the older receiver. So, and he still looked like he had a little bit of juice when he was out there on the field.
That
So,
third and 30,
yeah,
bruh.
I was like, okay,
We need
I'm good.
that. We
Yeah,
need that. You get that with a speedster like Cooks on this. It's gonna be pick your poison because you can bracket and zone all you want to, bruh. But everybody gonna be out there eating. If everybody run their routes correctly.
right, and also if you get especially if you get another sneaky explosive receiver up in that building, I mean, like I said, you're feeling good. But I don't know. I'm gonna ask you, E2. What do you think? Do you think this offense is? What do you think? What do you think this offense is going to be?
You talking about as far as throughout the season, or you
Yeah,
just saying like,
is it
or
will
you saying what do we need to get to that point?
I mean, do you feel like what kind of offense? You feel like it'd be one of the efficient offenses, time taking a lot of time of possession, won't be as explosive as it was like in the years prior, or
I
kind of
think
your
that will be less. I think will be less Kellen Moorish, meaning like it's not going to be all sexy and because what we will miss about Kellen Moore is those weird little plays that work, and you be like, "Damn, what the hell was that?" But it worked. Like you're not going to see that no more. Sometimes the plays might be boring, but at the end of the day, they're going to be slow and matriculous. But I think they're going to be effective because I hate when everybody keeps saying Dinkin and Duncan. Dinkin and Duncan is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna tell you
right,
why. Because Dinkin and Duncan get you that big play because it wears out the defense, especially if you're moving up and down the field. The defense is like, damn, we can't stop them no matter what they're doing. So you just marching, marching, marching. So I think that's kind of what the offense we're going to be, especially how we're going to run with our tight ends and things of that nature, with the well balance of that and running the ball. So I think that it's going to be less flashy, more of utilizing our field advantage like we're supposed to do, and that's how I like it. That's how I'm going to want it,
Yeah,
especially with us moving to that West Coast offense.
yeah. What's up, Coach Marv? Coach Marv is in the building. How you doing today?
Hey man. Hey man, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Listen,
What's going
doing
on,
good,
Coach?
doing good, doing
Coach.
good. So, like, let's switch to this draft. I mean, I want to ask y'all about cornerback because we talked about the trenches. Where would you look at cornerback in this draft? E2, would you look at it like where you looking at cornerback for you?
Well, I feel like now that you got Gilmore, I mean, like, granted, he's probably only going to be here for a year. Well, you never know. They might, if he do real well, they might like, oh, you want another, like, you want
Right,
a
right,
little
right,
little
right.
small contract next year. But I feel like it's not a hurry to get one like in the first round. But you could get you a stud in the third. You know what I mean? Or you could double dip and get one in the third and get you one later in the draft, or you could get an unsuspected undrafted guy because we've been doing pretty well with DBs in that undrafted round.
I
Um,
mean,
I
so
think I think
I
you're
just think
right.
that I don't think that it's a dire emergency, but I think that what they're gonna do is they're gonna get one in the later rounds, like the third or something like that.
I think if they go in the later rounds and then it'll be more for depth and probably cut Kelvin Joseph than it would be for more of the
Please
core.
cut goddamn bruh. Bro, I meant to call you about that big game because I know you feel the same way I feel. It's like, why is he here? Well,
yeah.
I get it, special teams, but
That ain't even the special teams, dog. He's still here because of that draft status. That's the main reason why
Yeah,
yeah, that's
he's
true.
been kept this whole
That's true.
time. You was a second round pick, and they don't want to sit there and say we're just gonna throw you away just that easy. And so that's why they're giving them opportunities. You feel me? But I'm glad
That's
the
true.
Israel Mukamus have stepped up. I'm glad the Deron Blands have stepped up. And then you did
yeah.
add in the addition. Now, for real, people was tripping on me or tripping, but I don't care. If you cut a Anthony Brown and re-sign him for the low, I'm cool with that, dog. I don't know why everybody tripping on him and getting him back for depth. I want somebody like that because it wasn't like he's just super trash now, and he played better under Dan Campbell. I mean, not Dan Campbell, under Dan Quinn.
They're under Dan Campbell.
I
Yeah,
mean, I mean, he has played better. So why wouldn't you kind of keep him for depth, and let him be more of the background guy because that's what he really is. He's not the starter type guy. He's the more
No,
background guy. So now you got the starter in the Gilmore. Now I feel like you see a better Anthony Brown if he rehabs good because you don't have to have all that pressure on him now. I feel like when you put him out there as the second guy, that's a lot of pressure. Can't handle it. You put him as a third or fourth, I think he's a better player.
But
and
I
one
mean,
thing that nobody. Oh, go ahead, Ninja.
I'm sorry, bro.
Go ahead, coach.
There's a couple can't cut candidates for cornerback. You got Jay Lou, they got Nashawn Wright and Kelvin Joseph. I mean, if they double dip,
I think Nate Shine is going to stay for one more year.
I like Nashawn.
I don't dislike them. I just think that, and it'll be less of a cap hit if they just if it's a camp cut.
Yeah.
well,
If they stop using him like a Swiss Army knife, then I just think he'll be fine. Just let him concentrate on one thing.
I think I think you might be right. I know we're going to probably draft a corner in this draft because of the fact not to the point about maybe cutting to the point that Nashawn Wright, if you keep Nashawn Wright and Kelvin Joseph, they're going into their fourth year the next year, which is their contract year. So you only got to add to the room now anyway, and to come to I think all these defensive backs that's been here are going to benefit for the knowledge that you're gonna get from Gilmore.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's
Oh
gonna
man.
help.
Yeah,
Man, they
And
gonna be
that's
going. They gonna be going out to eat. They gonna be hanging out, bro. Let me
right.
tell you something. It's gonna be a
no, it's
beautiful
going to
thing
be the
this season.
Patriot way in that backfield.
Right, and because like I said, I know him, and he did that. He always helped the defensive backs here at South Carolina. But the other thing is, I'm not really truly ready to give up on Kelvin Joseph? Because I understand the thinking of a young man. I didn't really think he's gonna have a good season. There's nowhere in the world mentally that you're gonna be able to be ready for a season going through what he went through during the off season. That's now, is he on a short leash about what he does in the off season and how well that he dedicates himself to saying, okay, I got a clean off season and now there's nothing on the board. Let me get better. Yes, they can take that, and if you add another cornerback in the draft, that don't mean you have to get rid of somebody else, because that'll be what your sixth corner. That means I think they're really thinking about moving on from J. Lou. I wouldn't bring back Anthony Brown, not because of the play. Two reasons I wouldn't bring back Anthony Brown. One, yes, he's a veteran guy, but really, Nashawn and Joseph veteran guys. Now they've been in the league 3 years.
But who's
right?
better though, Coach?
Yeah, and I don't know if you're going to bring. I wouldn't bring him back unless he was already totally healthy. I'm not going to go in there and invest to bring him back.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know how he's going to come back from Achilles injury, right? And clog up my room. I'd rather go ahead and draft a guy maybe in the third round or second round, because I really believe that we can find jewels in this draft with corners, because I think this is a very deep cornerback draft, right? I think we could find a guy that can be in there to develop, but I don't. If it is, there's no need to bring back Anthony Brown to add vet, because I should have enough veterans in that locker room now, because now all my defensive backs been in the league for 3 years. So it's not like we got a bunch of rookies on this team. So I can see what you were talking about with Bradley, but he has to be totally healthy. And I think that's the same thing with Jay Lou, because both of these guys are coming off major injuries. That Liz Frank injury with Jay Lou had is not a injury that a lot of people come back from. And that Achilles for a cornerback, it might take him a year to come back. And what they can do is they can sign him after he gets totally healthy.
And that's just the mental part.
Nobody else gonna sign him.
And that's just the mental part of it.
Right. So he'll be out there. If we need to sign him later on in the year like we did last year, right? When we need to sign a veteran corner, he'll be there. I wouldn't sign him now. He'll be there till he gets totally healthy. And then we can say, okay, we can sign you now, maybe a half a year, and definitely that would be a bargain deal then. But
that's where I was coming from. Yeah, but that's where I was coming from, Coach. Yeah, that's where I was coming from. Because if you cut him because of what he's making, then you can wait till he gets healthy or whatever, because I don't think he's going to have a big market. People will look at him, but I don't think he's going to have a big market because of that Achilles injury. So that'll be something where, just like they did with Cooper Rush, they cut Cooper Rush. Well, nobody really messing with him. They're just going to bring him right back, and you're just going to be our backup, and that's what was our plan in our mind the whole way through anyway. But, yeah, I feel what y'all saying.
They can't cut J. Lou. They can't cut J. Lou yet until J. Lou get healthy because of the NFL contract thing. Right. If he's not healthy, then they're gonna be caught. They'll be caught out there with some money they got paying. So once he get totally healthy and the doctor gives him that stamp that says he's ready to go, the next day they can cut it.
Yeah, we all on the same wavelength. We all on the same wavelength with that. But to piggyback what you were saying, like to go back real quick to the Kelvin Joseph, my biggest issue with him is he doesn't have that. It just seemed like when stuff happened, he blames other people. And he doesn't take accountability of his own actions. And I know that as a young player, you don't do stupid stuff. I get it. I'm with all that. But it's just with him, I just don't see his mental, his drive is not where it's supposed to be. And to me, that's not gonna get you far in the league. You know what I mean?
If they draft the cornerback early, they draft the cornerback in the second round, and he one of the top corners.
I would say third, because that third round is to me is like the crux. That's where you're gonna get a lot of the meat of your DBs right there.
Well, you know, if they do draft it, let's say if they find that corner, they say, "Oh, we got that corner on the board in round 2," and they draft him. They say that's more to dig at Diggs than to dig at Kelvin Joseph.
Then you know what time it is.
yeah. You know what time it is. Yeah, you know what time it is. If they get a corner high, then yeah, that's kind of putting somebody on blast. Like we're getting ready to replace you, and if you don't sign the deal or we don't
there,
go with what you like,
there
this
you
is our
go.
guy right
But I
here,
think
and we're gonna. Because I
I think
mean,
it's gonna,
that's what you should do
it's gonna
anyway
be
as an
nice.
organization. Anyway, like when like in college football and just like in the pros, like they say it, even the players say it. Once you get drafted, you're already getting you're on the clock to get replaced. You're on the clock
Yeah,
to get replaced. As soon as you get drafted, you're on the clock to get replaced. So that's what you should already be thinking in your brain. And every year, you should try to upgrade a position and never think that, oh, we're not going to do this because we got a great player here. No, that's not, I don't feel like how teams are great. When you keep on getting players that can push other people, that's when your team is good, and that's when it brings out the best of everybody. When you have those elite players, and you don't just settle and say, "Oh, we got our guy, and he's solidified at this position. We're not going to touch that." No, you still need to always keep on upgrading it because they need to always be pushed because it makes the team better as a whole. That's what I was talking about. Even with a quarterback, it don't got to be a threat on Dak, but you should. I think you should have somebody can push him. I didn't like when they didn't have somebody behind Romo to push him even though you knew he was your quarterback. You still need
that
somebody to
part.
be out there and make him think, okay, if I don't be playing good, you never know. You need to always have that. It's just like at a job
I
or
agree.
anything else. That keeps you on your toes and make sure that you don't ever be
But
slipping. Because if you
Yeah.
do, this dude can take your spot.
I mean,
That's what might hold Diggs from holding out. I would think Diggs will hold out because he's on a lame duck and he's not he would want to sign an extension before he plays last year. But he's also going to look at, and I'm just telling you from the player
He's dealing
from
with
the human
Dallas.
point. He's gonna look at it and say this. Okay, we got a guy now in Gilmore here. He could be our number one corner. So I can't hold out for that because, and then we got Blam that's playing better, and they draft a guy even if it's a third round. If I hold out in training camp and these guys start balling, that's gonna make me even less to get my money here. And when you see a guy like Bland get drafted in the fifth round and he turned out to be a baller, you're saying now they're saying it just took J. Lou to get hurt one time and that was
right.
it. And that was over with. So when you try to think about holding out, you hold out and the other guy get the reps in training camp. Let's have Kevin Joseph come back and he focused and he start balling in training camp and you holding out. You sitting on the sideline like
Imagine that.
I'm, I'm
Imagine that.
I'm done. So you don't want to give. It's almost like you don't want to give these guys a chance. And that you talk about quarterback. Tom Brady, Tom Brady knew how he got into the league. He got into the league because Bledsoe got hurt, and once he got hurt, he was in the game. So when Tom Brady got suspended, when he had that deflate gate, that's why he fought it tooth and nail because he didn't want Garofalo to
Right.
get a star because he didn't want nobody else to get no shine. So you can start talking about getting rid of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be in there all the time. So
Because I'm the man.
That's why.
because I'm the man, and I'm not gonna let
that was-
nobody. Because anybody else get in, you can get Wally Pip easy. Somebody get in,
Yep.
start playing well, and that's why Dak came back. If Dak was so didn't know the Cowboy fans, his finger got healed faster as we kept winning games. Because he understood that people be like, "Oh, I let this go
They
two
were
more
crying for
games.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I let it go two more games." People be like, "Hey, man, Cooper could get us to 6-1." So that's how people think, man.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is.
But I mean, if you look at the names, the top 6 names at corner, right? We're at 26, mind you. You got Witherspoon, Joey Porter Jr., Banks, Forbes, and Ringo. All those aren't getting picked before we pick.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you look at the way the Cowboys did it, are doing it, because they have been more hush-hush than they have before, because usually the Cowboys always used to show their hand, always used to talk, basically telling you who they're
I used to
drafting.
be like,
and they
Gary,
would-
shut the
Right, exactly. We always get mad because they would never shut up and basically show you their hand. To me, since McCarthy's been there, I feel like he's been probably telling them to shut up, be quiet, don't say as much.
You don't show your hand when you got a good hand.
I know, you feel me, but Dallas do that. You feel me? Dallas
You don't
be
talk
doing
when you
that
got a
now,
good.
though.
When you got
I
you got a you got a almost a straight flush in your hand. You don't have to talk.
I
But when
feel
you're
you.
doing a lot of talking, that means you ain't got nothing.
Right. So I'm like, be quiet. But you know what? I like how the thing that they're doing to me is they're bringing in everybody. So you're not getting the beat on who they're drafting because they're bringing in a bunch of top offensive linemen. They're bringing in them top corners. They're bringing in the top receivers. They're bringing in the running backs. You feel me? They're bringing in the edge guys. So you hear a big name, you're like, oh damn, he just came in. So I feel like they're doing that to kind of keep everybody at bay, like you don't know. And once again, these first two picks, I feel like they're going to be players in the 26th pick and the 58th pick that we don't think are going to be there. And it's going to be like, they're going to be waiting on that clock a little bit longer because they're going to be like, uh-oh, he dropped. Damn, we was thinking about maybe getting him, but he just dropped. I think it's going to happen like that, dog, especially at 26. I really feel like it because this ain't no star power draft. This ain't no star power draft. You feel me?
Because you know how many teams need quarterbacks?
Man.
Oh yeah. That's why they're talking about Hooker. That's why they released a thing today from the guy inside the building. I ain't gonna call his name, but he inside the building. He started talking about that they want Hooker. Why? Because Hooker might fall and you got teams behind them that want that quarterback. So hey, the Cowboys, if 2 or 3 of their players that they really like drop, you could see the Cowboys say, man, who want the 26 so we can get 4 or 5 picks later and then still get those 2 and get some more quality to get all second round picks. For one, if we get second round or real late first round picks, we can pick guys that may be starters, but we got starters in that position and we don't feel the pressure to start them right off the bat for the clamoring of people saying, oh, that guy's a first round pick, he should be playing.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a smoke screen. I feel like that's a smoke screen too. Like, they like him, but they also like Max Duggan too.
Oh Lord, I told you that's them Andy Dalton vibes, dog. He ain't nothing but Andy Dalton vibes. I don't care what nobody tell me, and I could be totally wrong on him. That's fine.
My bad. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. Goddamn.
Every time I mentions him, I feel like Andy Dalton Part 2. Please, no.
I'd have got him started.
Don't do it, Dallas.
I'd have got him started.
Yes, you got me started.
It's the hair. It's the hair. It's the hair, big game. It's the hair, brother.
It's all of it.
If Mac Duggan didn't play for TCU, the Cowboys wouldn't be talking about.
And also, if he didn't have red hair, but he does, and so I'm looking at that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know Cool Rush came in and did it. He did it as a redhead, but you feel me? Like long term.
Hey, them redheads be getting it done, bro.
I don't know. Not on football side. I ain't seen it on the football side. Maybe I'll be getting it done somewhere else. But football, I won't be seeing it. So I'm not trusting that. So please, Cowboys, stay away from the Max Duggan.
You don't miss Andy Dalton. You don't remember when Andy Dalton was in here dropping them dimes, big game?
Hey man, when the Bengals, I'm out here in Ohio, so when the Bengals drafted Andy Dalton, I was sitting there like, y'all ain't going nowhere with him. They were hyping him. Ooh, the red rifle. I said, you will not go anywhere with him. You will not go anywhere with him. And they never did. They were only going to get to a certain level because he was a certain level quarterback. And you can see it when he was in college. I'm just saying, this felt like that. And I feel like that's the Max Duggan. He's a certain level. He'll get to a certain level, and that's it. So, no.
I'm with him.
Yeah, they not. But he's going to drop. Duggan's going to drop.
I know.
Hooker's gonna drop.
I'm taking Hooker. I'm taking Hooker.
You gonna take a Hooker?
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're gonna have 2 hookers.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised that there's a quarterback that's gonna move up this draft board.
2 for 1 hooker.
2 for 2 hookers
on offense and defense.
We got a hooker on 1, a hooker on 2. I'm cool with both of that. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, but speaking of that, I meant to mention that.
What's up?
I want to ask this question. I do believe if they go cornerback, but I do believe that they're going to go cornerback, but there's a very big possibility they're going to go to a cornerback that can play safety or go safety in this draft somewhere.
We have it already with Izzy. Izzy can do both of those.
Right, but
they won't go safety early.
Yeah, but I think
We got
for
that three-headed monster right now at safety. They're not going there early.
It could be a five-headed monster if you
Bell
think about it too.
and Izzy behind him.
Well,
Right.
yeah, but
they got
you
Marquise
losing two
Bell
next
too,
year.
though.
Bell
You
and
Right.
Izzy could
got,
be
Marquise
yeah.
Bell.
We
you
got a
got
five-headed
Marquise
monster,
Bell.
bro.
I think
Yeah,
they
you
would look
losing
at.
two next year.
Well, I
You
feel
ain't gonna
like they,
sign. You're not gonna sign Hooker back. Hooker not gonna sign back, and you ain't signing Kurt. That was the deal with Curse when they signed him for the 2 years.
So,
If they
coach,
wanted for
coach,
longer, they would sign him more than 2 years.
hey, coach. So tell me this: do you think Izzy and Bell could take over for Hooker and for Curse?
I'm
I
tell you
don't.
what.
Not right. Not at
I'm
the
be
moment.
honest. I'm gonna tell you honest that the person that will be the perfect fit for Curse, but y'all might not like it, but that's what he wants to play, and that's what he better suit for.
Cox,
That's top.
Cox.
That's his position. You
Yep,
playing him out of position.
Yeah.
That is what he does. That's what he
yep.
did when he was
That's what he
at
did.
North Carolina State. Basically, he was a hybrid guy. That's what he wants to
Same as
play.
Darren Woodson.
That's what he wants to do. That's what I believe. I just don't think you got the full effect for him because I think he was a Michael Gallup type thing too. I don't think his knee was quite
Same,
ready to come back
same,
as well.
well, you
same. I'm
can see
thinking
it. I saw it in
same.
training camp. I was saying that he was still favoring it. People were like, oh, he good, and I'm like,
Yep,
Yeah,
you could see him
yep.
favoring it, like he didn't want to put that pressure on it. And when you got a
yeah,
player that's tentative like that don't want to put pressure on the knee, you're not going to get the full capabilities of him after
that's
season,
it.
no matter
And
what
that's why
you
they're
do.
not going to do
It's a
steel
mental
that
thing
way.
now, right? And that's a
That's why
mental
they're not
thing,
going to do steel that way.
right?
Steel is they say 7 to 9 months. But I guarantee the Cowboys gonna drag that out
Oh, they
to
got
an
to.
extra couple of months because they done got burnt on those two players with knees in the last 2 years that kind of lost in production because they brought them back too soon. Yes, I know they may say 9 months, but I think that they're gonna solidify themselves. So that's why I made Jerry might alluded to still being the swing tackle because I don't really think they're gonna bring Steele back till they
Ooh,
think he is totally fully healthy.
Well, see,
that makes sense, man.
but see,
That makes sense, Big Daddy.
that's
That
why I
makes
was
sense.
saying, yeah, but see, that's why I was saying when they put Tyron Smith back at right tackle and they gave him that incentive laden deal. To me, that was telling me, okay, they're going to put him. You can play, but you gotta, you know,
You can
we
make
know
some money.
you're going to make some money because still ain't ready. So you're going to
Right.
probably
Right.
come in and be playing early, so you'll be able to make that money early until we bring Steele back because we're not going to throw him in there week one. Steele is not going to be ready week one. I don't
That's a
care. I
good
don't care
insurance
who do it.
policy, man. That's a good insurance policy to have,
But
though, bro. I
Tyron, this
mean,
here, but
really.
that also this is when you give Tyron that Smith that deal, he only take that deal because he knows that's what you're doing. But this is a 1 year thing. Tyron done after this. That's what that says. Because if I'm not, he playing swing tackle, and I'm gonna sign a deal like that because I know it's a possibility I'm gonna play a lot because Steele's not gonna be ready. But that's not gonna be every year. So I'm not gonna do that again. So this
Right.
is the last hurrah for him. And if he don't play in Dallas, this got to be in Dallas all his career. He not moving to go no place else.
Nah,
He'll
he's
be
gonna
done.
retire. Yeah, he'll
That's why
retire.
I'm trying to tell people that Zach Martin, his wife is already telling him about retirement. He didn't ask for no extension. He just took it, and the void years is done. His contract is over at 24. He's
Hey, look.
23 million on the cap. Zach, if we go to the Super Bowl or get to the NFC Championship game, you gonna lose both of them. They're tipping their hat and walking out the door. I'm telling
Hey,
you.
look. Hey, look. Zach Marr wife hit him with the. Hey, I need you home with these kids, my dude.
That's
Keep,
right.
keep,
They
Yeah.
tipping their hat, so you can think he's gonna play forever.
look. Keep playing. You gonna be like Tom Brady out this month.
If he wanted, if Zach Martin's gonna play, if he was gonna play, you know what he would have asked for? He would have asked for extension. Now, ain't no need to what he waiting on. He know he waited. He just went extended. There's no more void years to push his contract. So people
Right.
low key not seeing that. So the Cowboys see that. Listen, and the Cowboys not gonna sign no 3-4 year deal, and he retire in the middle because he say, "Man, I get an injury and I retire," and we be hooked like we was hooked with Fredericks with dead money for so long. So they're not gonna sign him. Just get in your mind. This may be the last year of Zach Martin and Tyron Smith.
And
Well,
I
how
said
about
that
this?
earlier before you got on the line. I mentioned that earlier. I said that's the reason why we got a double dip in this draft, first and maybe fifth
Well,
round for offensive alignment.
we might have to triple dip. If you think about it, I mean, I would not mind getting a tackle and 2 guards mess
But
around with me.
Yeah,
your triple dip would be
that'd
probably
be
an
a
undrafted free
yeah, that'd
agent.
be a
Yeah,
free
that's what I'm
agent
saying.
because
That's what I'm saying. Just like an
You
undrafted free
got
agent,
one.
so like that.
You
Yeah.
already drafted when you picked up the guy from when you got Kuma or whatever.
yeah.
That's like a draft pick because ain't no more $1 million.
Right.
That's a draft.
Right.
That's one draft pick right there.
Right.
And he's young, so you gonna see if we could develop him. You already drafted some other guys. You probably gonna draft a guard. The Cowboys are not saying nothing, but they already you can't tell me they haven't talked to Zach Martin and say, Zach, how low you gonna go? Because
yeah.
Zach would say he was going, we would have went an extension. We just extended his contract. They use the last year of his voided money. His
He gonna be
cap
like-
hit is $23 million next year. The only way you're gonna do that is extend him out. His wife telling him about retire, and you know Zach is not the type of guy that seems like he's gonna be playing around for 15,
Nah.
20 years.
Nah, and I said this earlier. I said he's not going to be the one to play until he start getting injured. When he start getting that bug or he start getting that back pain, time to go.
And he's starting to get the little injuries. If you notice, he's starting
There
to have
you
the
go.
big back
I
injuries
think- but
in
I
the
mean-
last 2 or 3 years. He's been injured more than before. And when a player that starts doing that, and especially on the offensive line, that's when they start thinking, do I want to do this anymore? Especially when they got to go through camp.
If they double dip on draft picks, I think it's going to be the replacement for Josh Paul. I think he's a camp cut. I mean,
I don't think they're even thinking about Josh Ball anymore. In my opinion,
Don't mention Josh Ball.
that's like you mentioned Max Duggan, the Andy Dalton. He hates Josh Ball.
This stream gonna blow up.
He got a very short. He got his leash is so short. It's not. He don't even have a leash on.
Yeah,
that's
he ain't
how
got a
short
leash.
leash.
Yeah, he ain't got a leash. If he sneezes wrong, it's over. If he sneezes wrong, it's over.
Look. Josh Ball got about as much chance of Chaz Green coming back on this thing.
Well, let's go. Got a shot.
Don't put that in the air.
What about Collins, bro? Y'all have any confidence in Collins at all?
I liked when I saw Collins.
He gonna give him a shot.
Yeah, same here.
I think I think this.
All these guys gonna get a shot in training camp.
This is going to be some good competition that they need in the camp. This is going to be good because we really, like I said, Mike McCarthy said, I want to protect Dak. I want to run the ball. If you want to do that, you need your offensive line together. Period.
Why they switch your boy Isaac Alacorn? Because I'm gonna tell you about him.
Want me to tell you why?
He started producing. Like he started actually like.
Because the fan base.
Because it was the fan base. This was all. The only reason why they switched him to the defensive line because he would have got cut and people would have been like, "Oh man, for real," and it's international, in my opinion. So they're like, "Well, let's just go ahead and switch you to defensive line. Say we gave you a chance to try to keep you on the roster a little bit longer instead of just saying it's over." Because that's the only reason.
I get that, but I think it's really bullshit because he was actually showing something on offensive line. Like, it's not like he was a bum. I could see if, like, he was just so bad that, like, oh, yeah, he's only here for the pathway. But he actually showed something.
Well, all offensive linemen get a good chance now because they got a new offensive line coach, so they get the it's no predetermined look. So everybody, if you're a lineman and trying to get a star like Collins, right? You like this because you these eyes, this new offensive line coach, this fresh eyes on you. So if you go out there and ball, there's no predetermined things about, oh well, I remember I had you out there last year and you didn't do well. Now you got a fresh start to show what you can do. So you got
you're right, because Solari could be like, all right, I want him back on his own O-line.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
that makes sense.
Now he might do good on defense line.
I doubt it. I don't even see nothing like that.
But he'll be a good camp body because we got 90 players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, I think
he'll be a camp body and put him on practice squad. Put him on the practice squad again if you want.
I think
good for 1,000 fans.
I'm telling you, I think there's going to be like 70 picks that we're just like sitting at 26 going, holy shit, all them guys are there.
Yeah,
I really think
it's going to be.
It's going to be a lot.
Just like you said, Coach, it could be a situation where if there's a lot of guys that are available at that 26th, then that could, like you said, it could be the trade out.
Right.
They're going to have their pick of the litter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if they go receiver.
It ain't star power in this thing. It's deep.
Yeah. Right. If they go receiver in this draft, fellas, I want y'all to focus in on this. If they go receiver, I know we like the Zay Flowers, we like these well named, but I really do believe if they go receiver, it's going to be a bigger receiver than what they have.
They have to. You got to bring
So you looking at a guy
a
maybe
Dez
6'1",
body type
6'2",
back in here.
a big body receiver, because if you
because
look
of
at
Lamb.
Green Bay had big body receivers, right? Seattle had big, and they had some of the small, but they had big. You're going to look for a big body receiver because you want to. It's almost like when defenses match up with offenses. Offenses want to match up with defenses as well. You don't
Yeah,
want to
and
have all small guys because you may have to match up with get a physical corner against a smaller defensive back. I mean, a physical receiver against a smaller defensive back. So you
What
and
want to
that's
wide
get
what
the guy.
Jack
receivers y'all
needs.
have? But what wide
That's
receivers
what
y'all
Jack
feel
needs.
like are coming out that are real tall with good
Great.
route running, can got hands, speed, and all that? Name me some big, tall wide receivers right now coming out of the draft. Anything like that, that's like all that.
Well, I
Go ahead,
mean,
go ahead, man.
at
Just
least
tell me,
six
man.
one, at least 6'1" or six
Yeah,
two. I like Mingo. I think
But
Mingo is going to get drafted by us.
Mingo,
Bro,
Johnston, and
uh-huh.
Tillman.
Tillman. Okay, all right.
All
Out
six
of
three,
all
big
those,
body.
who's y'all? Out of those guys you just
Mingo.
named, who's the number one
Mingo,
guy out of all those guys?
Mingo.
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 Mingo. Okay.
Out of them three,
Okay.
Mingo.
Yeah.
Because
All
And
day.
because
Mingo be
what Dak
around there the
needs
same
right
round.
now, he needs that guy that has a hella radius, right? He
Mm.
because we got plenty of guys that are the same, right? And one thing that I learned about football from playing it, even though I was a linebacker, but even on offense, when you're looking at, you don't want to have the same type of wide receivers, right? Because you can't have a bunch of Cole Beasleys on your team. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
gotta have
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta
Right.
Unless
have
you're the
a
Patriots.
variety. That's the reason why I said Cooks was a better option than Hopkins on his team, because you get Hopkins, like I said, him and CeeDee Lamb are kind of like the
Right.
same in what they do.
Same
They kind
thing.
of balance each
Yep.
other out, and you don't want to
Yep.
do that. You don't want to mess that up. So you
Yep.
want guys that are different. You want guys that do this,
Nope.
want
I'm
guys that
lying.
do this, and with a guy like Dez bringing a big body that can catch the ball in all different radiuses, gives Dak that big target to throw to.
Right.
Yeah,
I got
I
you.
lied to
Makes
you.
sense.
I
Kind
lied
of
to
like
you.
what he
Mingo
had with
six one
Amari
and a half.
Cooper.
yeah.
Mingo
Mingo what?
6'1.5". That's my
Yeah,
fault. I
six
lied.
one and a half. Yeah, he's not 6'3", yeah, 6'1". And
I
I,
lied.
but that 6'1" is but it ain't gonna be no 5'9", 5'10"
Right.
guy.
I
Right.
I
He's
don't
six
think
three with cleats on.
that.
I don't
But he's
think it's
also
Now if
got
they
either,
do,
because the
he's
only
also
reason
got
why
Turpin
I
gonna
don't
get
think
cut.
the only reason why I don't think it's going to be a small guy is because I feel like unless you're like
They're not cutting
the
Turpin.
Miami Dolphins, where you
yeah.
just got two elite
Unless they draft
speed
Tank
guys
Dell.
that are crazy. Most teams, if they have one main receiver, right? If they have one main receiver, right? They want him to be a big body with speed, because you can build around that. Rather, if you get a small guy, you worry about the injury factor, those type of things. And I feel like those type of things kind of trump in the 2023, because this ain't the 1980s, 1990s no more. Dog, even if you
Oh,
fast, these dudes is big. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
So you
yeah.
you kind of got to match up that all the way through. So we're gonna kind of close this out, but I got one last question. I always do it on the panel before we kind of head out of here. I got one last question for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is a question.
You go first, coach.
all
Yes, sir.
right,
You go first, coach.
all right. I'll give it to coach.
Yes, sir.
What is do you think the Cowboys have a better record than last year, and why?
Okay.
You trying to make me think out there, John.
Yes, I think the Cowboys will have a better record than they had last year, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I've seen the Cowboys team was much better from this year than it was the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
And in Mike McCarthy, I haven't always been the greatest Mike McCarthy guy, because the way he did it, I definitely would have did it. He got way more moxie than me to allow some young guy to ruin my stuff. I'd have been took over, right? So, but they were a better football team, and I think they're going to be better because it usually take teams, young teams like we did, being so young and being put together 3 years ago with so many different draft choices, 3 years to really mature. And now you're gonna have 3 years of your main stars being on this team for 3 years now. So they are really in their mature years. Plus, you have had two steps in the playoffs, a first round and a second round in this playoffs. This is a building blocks now of having a more mature team. We are no longer considered a young team. Might be in age, but we're no young considered a young team in experience anymore
Right.
because we have played in playoff games more than one. We don't advance one round. So we have played a lot of games. The core of this team has played a lot of games together. We
And they
talk
won
about
multiple different ways.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think there's more continuity because I really believe that you're going to have a total philosophy, a football philosophy, not just an offensive philosophy and a defensive philosophy. I think you're going to have a total unit. So
Right.
those things right there are going to count for at least one or two games that we lost last year that we shouldn't have lost.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the experience level and the continuity of this team being together for this third year is going to bring dividends. And I think, like you said one time before the game, we're going to win games a little easier than we won last year because of that,
Yes.
without doing as
Yes.
much. But it's going to
Yes.
seem like the games are being won easier. Because
Yes.
now these guys know how to pace themselves. They know the war. And now we're not asking these rookies as we did in the past couple of years to play multiple minutes. The rookie class we getting coming in now, we just asking them to be contributors a little bit.
Yeah.
So yes, we're gonna be, and I think we might be. I'm not saying we're gonna win 15 like these crazy Cowboy fans that we're gonna win them all, or we're gonna win almost all. But I do think we'll be a 14-3 type team. And I think it's going to be in the division, and I think we're going to win the division, and our closest competition in the division, it probably will be probably the Giants. It won't be the Eagles, but it'll probably be the Giants. But I think
They lost too much on defense.
we're going to be a 14-3, and we're going to be better, but just because the continuity of the big game and the third year of this nucleus being together.
Gotcha. What about you,
I
the
mean-
Ninja?
That's the fair point. The schedule's easy as shit, and I'm looking at it. I mean, the hardest teams, maybe the outside the division, the Seahawks, Patriots, maybe the Jets, maybe the Dolphins and San Francisco and the Bills. Other than that, you got the Chargers, the Lions, Panthers.
That might be a tough schedule. Lions
Yeah,
go with
Lions ain't no Lions ain't no
Oh,
hoe no
Lions ain't
more.
gonna be no
They
pushover.
not.
Lions punk down.
Lions ain't no hoe no
No.
more.
Lions said, I ain't gonna be no bitch.
Yeah, they
Nope.
ain't. They say we
Not at
ain't no
all.
hoes no more.
No, they like to play spoilers, but it all
They ain't no
depends on when we
hookers
play
now.
'em. It all depends on when we play them, though.
Right.
They did
Yeah,
beat the
watch that
Packers
you-
last year, so you never know. If they could beat the Packers, and we didn't beat the Packers last year, they came alive. That was a big game for them. So I'm impressed by the Lions, bro.
Oh, I don't take nothing away from the Lions. I love the
Yeah.
Lions. I really do.
So what's your thoughts, the Ninja? Are we having more
I think
or
it's,
less?
I think it's more wins. I think they squeak by with one or two more wins, like Coach said, because of his reasons. And the schedule is not really going to be that hard.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Got you. What about you, Smoke 1-4? Yeah.
Brother, let me tell you, man. Oh, good night to see you, Coach, and E2 and Ninja. It's good day to y'all for the night. Man, it was a great show. I'm gonna end it like this. We're going to have a great season, brother. I don't care what anybody say, my man. We're gonna have a great season. We're gonna have some good wins, way more wins than last year, because our team's gonna be way stronger. I mean, we're more smarter, and like Coach said, that third year under Dan Quinn with more better players and more experience, man, it's gonna be tough to play us, man. Because we're gonna be like the daggone Seattle Seahawks, bro. It's gonna be nasty. It's just attacking and attacking. It's gonna be bananas, bro. And I'm saying it one more time. When it comes to my receivers, bro, separation, separation, separation. If you ain't got that, I don't care what kind of receiver you are. You can run a 4-2. You can't
Right.
separate, brother. You ain't gonna get that ball. You wanna know the number one separated guy in the world, bro? Jerry Rice. What did he run, man? Okay, Jerry
Not
Rice was not
fast.
the fastest guy in the world, but he can separate and get past somebody so fast. That's what
Neither
you
was
need
Michael
from
Irvin.
receivers, brother. He, was, he wasn't that much of a burner, but he can get by.
Neither was
Right.
Michael Irvin.
Neither
Right.
was Michael Irvin. That's what I'm saying. It's about technique, man. Technique, your technique, getting open, get that ball, and go.
Yeah, there it is. What about you,
That's it.
E2? Everybody has a resounding yes, they're going to be better, more wins. What about you as we end
I'm
this
gonna
out?
add to that, and I'm gonna say yes. We're gonna at least. I don't see us going backwards. We're gonna at least have the same
Right.
record or better, but
Yep.
it's gonna feel different. And what I mean by feel different is um, this defense is gonna be even more dominant than it was last year.
Oh
Now
yeah.
That
you
part.
couple that with
Yep.
what we're doing on offense, and if Mike McCarthy comes through with this West Coast and it turns out the way that I think it will be, um, that gonna ball this year, and he gonna prove all the haters wrong. And
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks is gonna have a good old time. CeeDee Lamb gonna have a real good time because he's gonna be like,
Dak
oh
gonna
yeah,
get
I got my
frustrated here.
boys behind me, and they gonna celebrate, man, and they gonna win these games, and we're gonna win them in fashions that make sense. Like no
Yes, sir.
more of the blowing a team out and then going back and losing to a team like the Packers when everybody else beat them at that time, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like that inconsistency thing, I believe is gonna stop on offense this year.
Roller
So
coaster.
that's where I'm with. Yeah, that roller coaster of bullshit is gonna stop. So I just think that it's gonna be a much better season in that aspect.
Big
Big
Dan,
game.
Dan, one more time, one more thing, man. I did have a question for everybody. I want to understand this. Did every game we played last year, bro? Why is it that sometimes the offense looks totally different one game and then look a certain way another game, right, bro? You be like, wait a minute, we didn't play like that last week. Why are we
Let,
playing
let,
the,
let
the,
me
the
answer that
offensive
question for you.
setups, the schemes, everything? Sometimes some games CD didn't go in motion, bro, and you
Because
be
they
like, what's
mixing and
going
matching.
on?
Because they mixing and
Can,
matching. Go ahead,
yeah,
coach.
can I answer that question, Big A?
Go
And,
ahead. Go
and
ahead, coach.
it goes back to, and I know y'all probably talked about it earlier. Is this one thing about the Mike Martz thing? The most important thing about the Mike Martz thing was what he said at the end of the video, and he talked about discipline on offense.
Hmm.
And I know when
That's
we
the
people say
man.
when people say discipline, first thing we start thinking about is penalties and all that. No, technique is discipline,
Yep.
Yep.
right?
Preach, coach.
Running
Preach.
routes are discipline. Setting the edge is discipline. The
Ooh.
Amen.
reason why you have inconsistency in people in life is because of your discipline.
Yes,
Amen.
sir. Amen.
Discipline considers being consistent. If you coach any level, if you could coach a technique and a kid goes out there and use different techniques or don't use it, it's a discipline problem.
Yep.
And
And
that's
that
why
and
football is
that
a microcosm of fixing a lot of things in kids' lives.
and
It
that
teaches
goes
them
back.
structure. Mike McCarthy, Mark said at the end of that thing, said, I don't care who your quarterback is or your receivers. If your offensive game plan is not disciplined, where people are expected to do certain things certain ways, it's
Yep.
never going to work. I don't care who it is.
Yep.
Same
Yep.
thing with our defense. When we get big runs on us, go back and watch the film. If somebody break that down, it was not because it was players and talent. It was because of discipline. So if this team is going to get better, with I'd say when we talk about the maturation of that third year, just now you attack this team in a different manner in training camp. You're not young guys no more.
Yep.
We get a little tougher now on not doing things in a disciplined manner. And this is why I think Mike McCarthy is going with his team. That's all it takes, discipline.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get the
And that
And
and
discipline
that, and that
right, and we'll win 3 or 4 more games just off being disciplined and doing the little things correctly all the time. Because
all the time.
without discipline causes mistakes and
yeah.
causes inconsistency. That's
Yeah.
when you see a team is inconsistent, is because of their discipline.
And to piggyback on that, and it was mainly the confidence that the lack thereof of confidence in his own play calling that Kellen Moore had. and that caused those inconsistencies, and that's smoke where you get that. Oh, we here and then we do this. Remember that game when we had
Yeah,
that 13 personnel when them tight ends was eating?
yeah.
We
People
didn't
didn't run
never
it.
see
I'm like,
we didn't never see that again. We
Right.
ain't
yeah.
never see that again.
Big game.
Just
What you
drop
think
it.
about that, bro?
Mhm.
I mean, like I
It's
said,
they just
I,
keep
I, I
it's
mean, I, I,
reoccurring.
I feel and I totally agree with what Coach is
They're
saying.
paid. They're just reoccurring,
the
man.
the 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 discipline of the aspect, but I also feel like I think 1 week, Kellen Moore would do something, and maybe Mike McCarthy was like, I don't want to see kind of that this next game.
Yeah,
And then I feel like he starts saying a little bit more, and then you're like,
yeah.
well, damn, why are we running the ball so much this time? That's why I feel like McCarthy is talking to him and telling him,
Yes, sir.
hey, you
Yes,
need to
sir.
start doing this a little bit more or stop
Yes, sir.
doing that. So that's why I feel like that happened as
Because
well
Kellen is undisciplined.
because
Because
Kellen was
Kellen, that would make
right,
him inconsistent. Because
right,
Kellen is not disciplined to his head coach. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
When you have undisciplined people, right, that don't follow the instructions or doing things the correct way, they all over the place. They
Yep.
1 minute they here, 1 minute they there. That's the main thing you want to teach this team. And McCarthy wants a team that's on the same page where they are disciplined. Not saying you're always gonna be right, but we do things in a certain manner. And if we get everybody into that floor, it'll make us a more disciplined team, and we'll cut down on some of the mistakes that we made because we are more disciplined football team and doing stuff the right way. And if you're assistant coach under me and you can't get guys to do things in a technique way, in a right way, and I'm a head coach, then you got to go.
Right. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
But Big
feel you.
Game, I hear what you say, brother, about this. But I want to see what you say about these
Hey,
standings.
big
What you
game, I
think we're
got
gonna
I got
have,
to
man?
check off,
How
man.
many
But
how
it
many
was
people
good
gonna
talking
win,
to y'all
bro?
fellas, man.
Have a good night,
Appreciate
coach.
you. Appreciate
All
you.
All
right,
right,
so
man.
What'd you
how many
say,
think we're
Doc?
Appreciate
gonna win, Big Game? How many think we're gonna win, man?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're gonna be right around the same. Like we was 12-5 the last 2 years. I think maybe we do one tick better, where we're a
What better, man?
13-4. Was it 13-4? I think we can
Yeah.
get there, but I think that's where I'm gonna stop at the 13 level mark right there. I think,
you.
like
Yep.
I
That'd be
said, I think we'll be a more well-rounded team because, like you said, we've been with each other enough. We kind of know what's going on. We smelt the playoffs. We got to the next level. So I feel like, and when you added the additions that you're supposed to, now I feel like there just ain't no excuses. As long as we stay relatively healthy, there should be no excuses of why we're not in at least a championship game because you got all the talent you needed. You had it last year and you fell a little bit short, and now you added more to it. That's the biggest thing. We didn't lose a lot of the talent this year. We added
yeah.
to it, and then we've
Right.
added
Yes.
more to it
Yes.
because usually in the off
Exactly.
season
I
we
agree.
lose the talent and we don't really replace it with talent that can really take you over the top, and then thus we're in that middle level. They feel like they kept the talent and they added instead of losing, and I feel like now that should be the difference. You feel what I'm saying?
You notice?
Yeah.
You notice in that Mike Marks video, every person that was really messing up last year for like routes and catching, who's gone?
Right?
No,
Brown's
bro.
gone. Schultz is gone.
No, Brown.
I mean, the guys that were just like not consistent for us, man, and those two right there were just like I was amazed at looking at these routes, man. Like, good grief.
Well, hey, like I said, I'm
Hey,
glad we ain't really got to deal with that, and we'll see what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
yes, sir.
It'll
Yes,
be a
sir.
better way to go. But shout out to
Yes, sir.
everybody that came in today. Shout out to you, Smoke 140. I've been seeing you in the feed so many times. I'm glad to finally be able to see you live. I thank you for
Yes.
jumping in. I really
Bless, bless,
appreciate you.
bless, my man.
Appreciate you.
Hey, anytime, big gang, you want me to be on, bro? Hit me up. Let me know anytime,
Every
man.
Wednesday
I'm
at 8
always
p.m.
free, bro.
Every Wednesday 8 p.m.
I'm always free,
Every
man.
Wednesday
All
8
right,
p.m.
bless, brother. I'll see y'all later.
Appreciate you. Shout,
All right, bro.
shout out to my dog, the Ninja, once again, jumping on, big dog. I really appreciate you coming on there on pretty much on the weekly, and I really appreciate you what you have to bring to the table. And shout out to ET Blue. I just hit you in the DM, and you came out of nowhere. I didn't know you were coming in, and I really appreciate you jumping in and giving me your knowledge like you always do. I
Always
love
do.
way you always bring it, and hopefully we can do more of these collabs, in the future that we talked about on the low. So,
Yes, sir.
without further ado, Thank you for everybody that was in the building. Shout out to Dallas Law 43 as well that was in the building and the $4.99 holler that he gave. Thank you for everybody tonight, and we'll be talking to you soon. Tomorrow we do our final word draft show, so make sure you jump in the building. Then we'll also be doing our Best of Enemies podcast with me and my dog Joe Castro, so make sure you check that out as well. And Burgers and Blitzes are coming around the bend on Friday. What's up, Ninja?
Another thing is we got a new wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
Robert Prince.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
From Houston.
What?
He was in Houston last year. So that's going to help with
Yeah.
Cooks.
Yeah. So, hey, that's going to be a good thing. Like I said, I'm excited for the season, and we're going to see. But like I said, this is a no-excuse season for me. So, salutes to everybody in the building. We'll be talking to you soon. Big Game James, we out. Peace.
Holla.